Hey y'all, welcome to the Eternal Now. I'm Jane, your spiritual guide. And I am laughing right now because of what I want to share because it's so not lighthearted. But I also find humor in some really messed up things. So, um, we're going through some transitions, y'all. Back to that repatterning, right? We're releasing old patterns and ways of being, and we're integrating new patterns and new ways of being. So, what has been coming up recently is basically this inverted masculine energy, which is so well intended. The inverted masculine energy expresses itself and shows up like control. And control, when we think about it, comes from a place of um, protection, right? I either want to protect myself, so I need to control everything outside of me, or I need to protect you, so I'm going to control all of the factors outside of you. And although that's a really great intention and all, ain't nobody like to be controlled, and to be someone that is in the control consciousness, the consciousness of control, it literally sucks all of our life force energy out. Like, if I am in a space, in a consciousness, in a frequency of trying to control anything, right? I want to control the weather. I want to control how this day is going to turn out. I want to control how many people do this and how and I literally am draining my creative energy, my loving energy, my pleasurable energy, my joy energy. I am depleting myself of my highest self's expression and aspect and experience. And that just sucks. Like, but for real, yo, because again, we are divinely righted to experience love and joy and bliss and euphoria and abundance and all the things. But if I'm too busy controlling things, then I just get sucked dry. So that's what's really coming through, I think, for a lot of people, because the inverted masculine energy expresses itself through many ways. And the one that I want to share about today is the expression of control. And what's really funny is that as this control is expressed, it doesn't matter like where you are in the now. You are going to experience control because there is still control in the collective consciousness. So it may be that others are trying to control you, or people aren't accepting you, and then they leave in hopes that they can control you, or they'll guilt you, or they'll shame you, or they gaslight you, or whatever. Like, and we'll do that shit to ourselves, right? Because that inverted masculine energy is not something outside of us. It is within all of us. So we're here to clear it and transmute it and alchemize it to the regular, non-inverted, not distorted, the divine blueprint of the masculine energy, which still is a container that holds. It's just not so tight and constricting and like claws in, right? It's expanding now. The masculine energy, when it moves out of the inversion of control, it is still a container. It just is bigger, so that the feminine energy can like grow and expand and move and dive deep and be, while being nurtured and supported by the masculine energy. Again, this is all within all of us. Like the divine feminine, the divine masculine energy, it is within all of us. What's happening is that whatever is within us is literally expressed outside of us in this experience that we call life, that we call humanity, that we call the now, that we get to play in this game, the hologram. So when we have that in our awareness, that the inverted masculine is that of control, well, then it's like, what the fuck do I do about that shit? So a couple things that I want to encourage is to shift out of the inversion of the toxic. It's not even toxic. It can be toxic, meaning harmful to health and vitality. But I don't like that word. I said it. The inverted masculine energy. So anyway, so some tools and some encouragements are, first of all, to acknowledge it for what it is. And remember that, like, it is coming from an intention that is to be of service. Even those that are trying to control with like war and scarcity and fear and all of those things, their intention, this is going to sound messed up, although it is to do harm, don't get me wrong, it is to do harm to one, to be of service to something else, right? We are by design altruistic in nature, right? It's almost like even if I want to do a lot of harm to everything outside of myself, it's so that it makes me feel better, right? Even masochism, right? Like I hurt myself, but it's so that when the pain stops, I feel better than I did before the pain began, right? So for me, acknowledging that it's coming from a well-intended, completely misguided, completely distorted, fucked up place, but the intention is still there. Kind of like when like you're a kid or like a kid will do this for you and like and you make like a mud pie, you know, like the kid that goes out and they like pick the flowers but they're really just picking weeds, and they bring you the bouquet and you're just like, thank you, you know. Or they clean the house, but you know, then they break something, you know. It's like the intention is good in the beginning, and somewhere there's a light there's a light in there somewhere. My invitation is to recognize that light, and that recognition of that light literally starts to shift the inversion. It shifts the distortion. It's almost like when you're turning a TV or a radio station from static, and you can start to hear or see the image, you start to hear the song kind of come on. You're not there yet, but you can see that you're going the right direction, you're not going the other way. It's like that. So for us to start to clear through and alchemize and transmute the distorted, controlling expression of the divine masculine, for me, it starts with the recognition that, oh shit, that comes from somewhere that was from a hurt kid, a well-intended space. You know, like I'm going to look at it through a compassionate lens. It doesn't mean I like it by any stretch. Doesn't mean that I agree with it by any means. And then recognizing what parts in me am I controlling, or am I trying to control? Am I trying to control the relationship? Am I trying to control the way others behave? Am I letting myself be controlled? And really bring awareness to these things, and remembering that control comes from a place of fear, and it comes from a place of trust or the lack thereof, right? The fear is usually, I fear being abandoned, I fear being rejected, I fear being judged, and so I will control the outlying experiences. A hawk just landed in my yard. It is so big right now. It's literally like right above my computer that I'm looking at, and it's like big. I've seen so many hawks. Conversation whiplash. I went outside 2 days ago to meditate, and I get my little blanket out, and I hear the sounds of the birds, and 4 hawks swooped down to me, landed in the tree, and then they one by one started swooping down, and then they landed in the tree and they were hanging out. I love it a lot. Okay, I had to share. Anyway, y'all, life is just so good. So, you know, it flew up on the fence. Anyway, I'm like, if you see any mice, you can eat them, please. Gobble them up. So anyway, but when we experience control, it's because we have these underlying fears. You know, we're fearing that something bad is going to happen. And so if I control the things outside of me, then I won't get hurt again. It's a safety mechanism that was created from an incident or 2 or a billion in previous live nows that was designed to protect this inner child, this inner light, the being that maybe couldn't stand up for themselves, or when they did stand up for themselves, it wasn't honored. The rejection was real. It happened. You were abandoned, whatever the case is. So understanding that, okay, well, that's where that came from, that control is an expression of fear of being hurt again. Like, how sweet and sad is that? It's just like, sweet peas in the world. Us humans have been hurt so much that we are inverted in our masculine energy field by trying to control everything. And we can see how that's playing out, like in the big realm of like politics and this and that, and let's control your food and control your bodies, and I'm going to control your pharmaceuticals, and I'm going to control your everything. Like the way it's expressing itself is literally a reflection of the deep-seated work that we individually get to do. Because every time the I am, works through these things and clears these distortions and inversions of ways of being that literally can be so great. Every time I do that, I shift my entire being, my energy field, my physical, my capacity to love. When I do that, I literally quantumly will ripple out beyond me, because we're all energy, we're all connected. So every time you release control, every time you acknowledge control, every time you look at someone that's being a total butt face who's like, I'm gonna try to control everything, and instead of being like, oh, you suck, you asshole, and I'm judging you, and literally I'm just feeding that in which you are expressing yourself in, I'm making it worse, I'm holding you in a quantum web that's legit making the world in a way that I don't want, I'm feeding the distortion. So instead of doing that, looking at them and being like, oh, boo, yeah, you were really hurt because look how you were projecting that control out. And when we start to reclaim that inversion for the highest frequency and beauty that in this example, this divine masculine was created in, then we start to really reclaim sovereignty as well, which means that we can't be controlled anyway. And it also means that I don't want to fucking control anything because there's nothing to control. We literally start to shift the program and the hologram outside of ourselves. So part of this energy, because the divine feminine energy is rising, right? She in that container is like, fuck it. And I feel that with the earth. I love this hawk. I think that's Larry. I have two hawks. There's one in that tree and one in that tree. One's Larry and one's Earl. And they like talk and communicate. I think that one's Larry. Anyway. But I forgot what I was saying now. I totally just like tangented that much that, dang. I feel like it'll come back, but also don't want to like sit here and wait for it. But anyway, the container that the feminine is in. So this divine feminine energy is rising, right? So many humans are diving deep into their shadows. We're diving with the divine feminine, and we're creating more space for growth and expansion and healing and compassion and peace and harmony and pleasure and intuition and gifts and all the things. So as she's like moving big, she still wants a container. So that container, it's almost like I see it like a fence, and like the feminine's like pushing through it. We still want that beautiful fence, that grid work that holds us. We just don't need it fucking tight and controlling, right? Within ourselves or outside of ourselves. So what's going to start happening big time is that this inverted expression of the divine masculine is going to start popping up for us to clear. And the fun thing is that it doesn't matter where you are in your spiritual development. We're moving in a collective consciousness plane of energy. So you're going to be clearing it no matter how like enlightened or whatever you are. You can clear it through your breath, through your presence, through your actions, through your love, through your awareness, through your prayer, through your like, that's what we do because we're all one. Or we can continue to feed it, continue to control things, continue to feed the inversion by fearing control, fearing those who are controlling, judging those that are controlling, judging ourselves because we found out in a moment that, oh shit, I didn't realize I was controlling, but I just realized it, I'm such a piece of shit. But rather like ignoring that like inner monologue of bullshit and just recognizing, oh no, I still have a control pattern in there that got activated. I'm ready to change that program and reprogram in the high heart. I'm ready to give permission for that aspect of that inverted divine masculine to piece the fuck out so that I can reclaim this beautiful expression of the divine masculine energy. So good. Good. I love divine masculine energy. God, it's so present. I get a heart boner for the divine masculine. I do. It's like straight up like, that. Anyway, so that's what I wanted to share. My heart boner and a lot of compassion for the inverted control program, which really is correlated to an inverted divine masculine energy and expression. It's great. It's so great, I tell ya. So if you are like, that energy stuff, that's pretty cool. I have a course that I'm actually launching in a few weeks. So it's the fundamentals of energy, where I talk about all of this quantum stuff so that you can have a deeper awareness, a broader perspective, and tools to actually navigate your energetic body, the consciousness fields around you, and the different facets of this reality, just to make it easier for you as the human that you are. So you can sign up click on the link. Click on the link in the box below, and while you're clicking on my box, click your thumbs up like you liked this experience, and then you can share this with others that you know. I like this. Sometimes when I talk, I get this poppy vein in my neck, and I don't understand why. I have a lot of friends that get the poppy vein in their forehead, though, so I guess I'll take it in my neck and not my forehead. Anyway, I love you so much, and just like big props to you, homie, for being in this now and living through the most epic experience of clearing, of shifting, of deprogramming, of reprogramming, of shifting all the patterns of everything you've ever known, and literally creating a brand new experience called your life, for being a conscious co-creator in this generation of now, like creating the new earth through your embodiment. What? Y'all, we are so badass to come into reality now. Like, so good. Scary as fuck, because we don't know what we're doing. We are the template creators, and we can't fuck it up. So keep loving big, love hard, love with space and grace, and move. And connect with me if you would like a one-on-one session, so I can help you navigate your nows as you consciously create your life. And hopefully it's done with a lot more pleasure and joy, because we're made to do that. So I love you. Take care of yourselves and each other. And I will see you so soon. Okay, bye. Peace.